Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. What an incredible morning. Zack Snyder posts another post on Vero. This time it's a picture of his little collection of prototype costumes on his table, which is incredible. We've seen them in the background. He kind of hides them here and there. I think he uses one of them for like a Star Wars bit, but pretty much all there for you to see the costume prototypes for the Flash, the future Flash that came back in time from in the Knightmare Sequence. Well, after Knightmare Sequence, we also got Batman. We got the armored suit Batman. We got Wonder Woman. We got Aquaman in the background, which kind of looks like the gold material looking, the one that's more like the comics, the one that's probably in the Aquaman movie, as opposed to the Justice League version, which is very interesting. And then we have Cyborg also with the face shield that we get to see in the trailer he does to protect his face, but we don't see in the movie at all. That's completely cut out, so that's different in itself. And then, he started interacting with the fans, and that's kind of cool for him to do. And here's a couple things that are kind of little nuggets, if you will, that brings a little bit more attention to the Batman v Superman story, or at least the arc that he was supposed to do, that he wanted to do, right? So he responds to, let's go back up here. They talk about a little bit about the suit, and he reveals that he had to beef up Flash up to jump him back. Only Cyborg could do that math. So in that instance, he's saying that yes, Cyborg was involved in the probably him and maybe even Batman, but most likely Cyborg's involved with having that mech suit that Flash uses, and calculating the math in order to get him to time jump that far. So Cyborg and Flash were together, possibly, unless Cyborg died in that future, but Cyborg and Flash work together to get Flash to tell Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman, in that Nightmare Sequence, to tell him to find Lois. Lois is the key. And that leads into more of discussion about Nightmare Sequence, is that someone asked, I got so much of, this is from Siddhartha Varma, Sir, I got so much of Injustice vibe in BVS Nightmare Sequence. Is there any arc you plan for that? And we kind of knew already that it's been inspired. He says, oh yes, just quite frankly, just easily, oh yes. And there's some people who are like, oh my God, he's going to do the Injustice. I didn't want the Injustice. Some people did not like that direction and things like that. But I'm thinking it's just a little homage. There's just little tidbits, parts of it that he includes from different types of comics, including Dark Knight Returns. He's doing the little Injustice thing there where Lois dies or something happens to Lois and Superman is kind of evil or going against Batman. Of course, it's not the same at all. In fact, if you know, in the Injustice, Joker tricks Superman into Superman accidentally killing Lois, and then Superman kills Joker, and they're just two different sides. He was trying to be more of a dictator, and Batman was like the resistance. So there is that. So it is similar in some aspects, but we know now that Superman is evil because Doomsday took advantage of that with the anti-life equation, and took advantage of that and made Superman evil in that nightmarish future, which we really wanted more to see of. We wanted to see how that actually plays out. Unfortunately, at this rate, right now, if there is no Snyder cut or anything any type of completion, it's pretty much going to end there. We'll never know we know now in terms of talking to Zack Snyder, but we'll never know when we watch it in theaters or on screen. We'll never know how that actually plays out. And so some people have even said, man, we would really cool to see like a comic spread of that, at least to get an idea of how this all of this end up, or maybe a DC animation could do like an Elseworlds thing, and have an actual animated Snyder cut version of the entire part. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool in itself. Whether that happens, I have no idea. But it's so intriguing to see this, the level of detail in there that he puts in forth, even the putting the face shield, because he feels that if Cyborg's going to go through walls, he doesn't want to hurt his human face. So he has a certain bit of realism that he puts into it. It reminds me of how Christopher Nolan developed technology for Batman, he made sure everything seems real, and could actually work in reality, kind of like how Iron Man, the first Iron Man, how all the technology in terms of how he builds the suit and everything, you can actually imagine him actually doing that and the science behind that. So I'm glad that it seems like Zack Snyder was kind of borrowing elements of realism to that, and we already see how he does that in effect by having Superman in a real world, and how the real world would interact with an alien from another planet. So I love those little tidbits and stuff like that. That's so awesome that Zack Snyder is still putting out this stuff. Those are completely a really amazing figures there. Too bad that we couldn't see the Flash's costume in that entirety and how he looked like that, or even Cyborg in its entirety. Now look at little Doomsday right there. It's kind of interesting. That little Doomsday character over there. No seeing Superman at all, but so I even asked him on Vero if there's any Superman. He didn't reply yet, I don't think. So interested if he had a Superman figure as well. Now comes the fun part. Me and my makeshift tinfoil hat time. This is tinfoil hat time. I don't know if I'm going to wear this stupid little thing, but I thought it was kind of fun to talk about this stuff, and then for you to visually see what where I'm going with this. This is an indication that we're going into uncharted deep territory here, and hopefully I can come out of it. But now, Film Junkie, Dave Pina, and even Kenny had kind of looked zeroed in on this picture. They're zeroed in. They had a picture and looking at the books on the chair. Now, people have said that Zack Snyder doesn't make accidental pictures. He sets it up right, and he wants you to see it. And if, with your tinfoil hat, if you zero in on those books, you can clearly see what makes out on the side says Fountainhead. And on the bottom, below pictures, and I can't make those words out, but people are saying, well, that book does not look like a Fountainhead book. And if you look online, and I can't find it myself, but some people can't find it either, is that if you look online, there is not much books that look like that. It doesn't have it look like that, and it says Fountainhead on it, and there's other books under it, and I just can't make out the words. My eyes could be fooling me, but I feel like I see Justice there on the third book down, but who knows, right? That's just tinfoil hat territory right now, and that's why I'm wearing this. But this is the thing. We were, Kenny and I were kind of discussing, what is Fountainhead? Fountainhead, there is no, there on IMDb or any of those sites, Zack Snyder's next movie is supposedly The Last Photograph. And either he's kept keeping The Last Photograph production stills and everything to his heart, keeping it to himself, or we haven't, or at least I haven't actually seen it. And if you guys seen it, production stills or anything involved with The Last Photograph, let me know. I have not, everything is Fountainhead, Fountainhead, Fountainhead. And there was only one article back in 2016 where he was, not one article, but everybody had an article about Zack Snyder wanting to do an adaptation of the Fountainhead movie, or the book rather, or maybe both. And so that was it. That was all that was left of that. And maybe he's still researching and doing things like that, but it's laid out there very interesting, very nicely. So I'm thinking, and I was kind of just joking around, it's maybe Fountainhead, and we already talked about Fountain, how it's about a creator, an architect who wants to do one thing, and the corporate people didn't want him. They want him to do something else, something that's more similar to everything, other buildings and things like that. So it's almost very similar to how Zack Snyder's life is right now in terms of Warner Brothers, how he wanted to do movies this way, but Warner Brothers wanted him to do another way. So it very much echoes that the Fountainhead. He is the character in Fountainhead. If you really think about it, especially that one clip where that came out. But Fiona is pretty adamant that Fountainhead is an actual movie he's working on. So I'll give her that. Unless you're joking, unless you're fooling us as well, or you don't know either. Who knows? But I like how in that little post that he did, where someone named Vimuro Simonish Reddy, sorry, I might have butchered that, but he told Zack Snyder, "Sir, you may believe it or not, but I am waking up in the middle of my sleep, and the reason is you. I will become depressed when I remember you. I am crying since last year when the news about you left Justice League. I have finals on that day, and I didn't perform well." That sucks. "I will never lose hope. I will be waiting when you will be back to DC Films. It's your responsibility because you started all of it." And right after, he gives Vimuro a thumbs up and a heart sign, right? Thumbs up and a heart sign. Now, that could just mean, sorry, I'll thank you for your support. I'll do my best. I'll try. That's that. That would be this guy talking. "I'll do my best. Thank you." He's just being a fan. This guy talking. "Oh my God, he's coming back to the DCEU? I don't know. I mean, he seems like he's giving him the thumbs up saying, don't worry, it's happening." And then we were talking about how Ben Affleck is rumored to be coming back or staying on as Batman. And maybe he was going to leave in the first place because he didn't like the direction that Warner Brothers was taking him. I think he was pretty happy with Zack Snyder's take. I mean, that's why he was so compelled to be on there. And maybe Warner Brothers wanted to take him in a different direction. John Berg, and although another person said that he's really good friends with John Berg, so who knows? But John Bergs and Jeff Johns wanted to take Batman in a certain direction. Maybe they didn't want Ben Affleck in that direction. And Matt Reeves was, I don't know what's going on with Matt Reeves, but some have speculated that Ben Affleck's staying on because he is happy working with Walter Hamada, and they're getting along, and they're on the same page, and possibly even Zack Snyder will be included as well. Who knows, right? So that's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if Zack Snyder is really just hinting at, don't worry, there is talks. I might be either finishing it or, like you said, because he's really responding to the guy who's saying it's your responsibility because you start all. I'll be waiting when you will be back to DC Films. What does that mean? Let me know. Give me your thoughts down below. Tinfoil hat or not on the actual things that's said and what you believe or what you don't believe. But I'm just hoping for the best, and I'm still hoping for the Snyder Cut. I know a lot of people, I've seen comments here and there that I'm delusional or deranged. That's why I carry a tinfoil hat nowadays. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.